We recorded this next episode when I was visiting the illustrious city of Austin, Texas. I wanted to do a song that matched the themes or the city that I was experiencing that week. I was eating barbecue, having breakfast tacos. I went and saw James McMurtry, who I think is probably the greatest living American songwriter. There's some debate on that. I chose a song with Austin in the name. As you will see as this episode progresses, I may not have chosen the best 90s country song. We had a lot of heated opinions about how this particular songwriter and or the protagonist of the song is, and I quote, a huge fucking pussy or a huge fucking idiot. What are you gonna do? This is Bubba Shot the Podcast. We're doing Little Texas. Amy's back in Austin, but Drew's gone.
Bubba Shot the Podcast, and that's right. A show about country at its height. Don't expect no shit.
This is Bubba Shot the Podcast. Hello, gentlemen. First, the facts. Today, we are doing Amy's Back in Austin, a song recorded in 1994 by Little Texas. It was their second single from their third album, Kick a Little. That's also a great song. It was written by their frontman, Brady Seals, along with famous Nashville songwriter Stephen Allen Davis. We'll get into that a little bit later. It was Little Texas's 11th entry on the Billboard charts. It went all the way to number 4 on Hot Country Songs, and it went to number 6 in Canada. They always list that. There must be a big Canadian country fan base.
Oh, there is.
It was nominated for a Grammy at the 1996 Grammy Awards. I think it was because the song was released as a single in 95 and then was nominated for the Grammy in 1996 for Best Country Performance. Hey, let's get into it. What's up, fellas?
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
We're back.
Can I tell you something, Raven?
Tushar Singh. Huh?
Can I tell you something, Raven?
Yeah.
You know how, as people can see here, if you're watching this, Trae's not here because we had maybe a little confusion in the group chat. I also was confused. I thought we were doing John Deere Green. I must not have read that we were doing Amy's Back in Austin, and so I haven't watched the Amy's Back in Austin video. Would you like me to just, without us skipping a beat, watch it while you and Tushar fucking talk? Because I can do that.
That's fine if that's how you want to do it.
Well, I mean, I want to watch the video.
Yeah, watch that video. Should I let you share screen and just let everybody watch it and see if YouTube catches us? I feel like they will, but
that's fine. We can. I mean, it's we've never tested them.
Yeah, I'll monetize this one and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Let me share. You the right to screen share.
I look like a fucking
I don't
criminal.
know what to do. Nothing popped up. Try to screen share, Corey, and see what happens.
Okay. Share.
You look like a criminal who hasn't been
share
caught
screen.
Yet.
Don't show these goddamn tips again, I said. Share screen. Can you see me?
No.
Oh, wait, hold up. What about now?
Boom.
Boom.
That.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord God. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to have to go to there we go.
Okay.
If you're listening at home, this would definitely be the point that you watch the Amy's Back in Austin video. It's on YouTube. It's a great video. Since it's up, it's directed by DJ Webster. And here we go. Do you have sound, Joe?
I do not. That does not hit for me. I don't know how to make it be sound.
I can just put it from
I got it. Hold up. I got it.
Full screen it. That's a nice shot. Good mullet. It's a good mullet. That's a good mullet.
Uh-huh.
They really did stick out. These two.
That guy's so goofy looking.
Yeah, he looks like country Michael Bolton. Michael Bolts.
Yep. I love the artistic choices. So they're dancing in front of an RV. We'll get into the lyrics later and how some of these really match. And some of them don't because they're clearly just in West Texas.
This was shot in Austin.
back in
Now look at this.
Austin,
Or keep singing.
working at the
Look at this lady
Zona
falling.
Rosa Cafe.
Joe, I'm going to put this in. So if you could.
Oh, my bad. I wasn't paying attention.
That was our first black and white shot of her falling as she's clearly in a restaurant situation. And that's the first choice here. We'll get in, like I said, we'll get into the lyrics, but I really love that the director of this music video has her in these black and white shots looking miserable at work.
Yeah.
Now here she is dancing in front of the RV happy. It's like, look what she gave up. But the song is not about her being unhappy. It's about him being unhappy.
Oh, look at him baptizing her in the name of the Father.
Waterboard. White waterboard.
Yeah, the him bathing her scene. Women think that's sexy, right? That's like a very sexy thing for a man to wash your hair.
I guess, but like he was doing it with that picture where I've only seen like Pontius Pilate in the Easter drama be done that way.
Yeah, I think that this is my favorite part. Look at how miserable she is as she floats through this crowd. This looks like almost like a David Lynch scene.
Yeah. Oh my Lord! Look at that sumbitch right there. Wait.
Country music gets everything late, so this is an '80s looking band.
I was about to say, if you threw eyeliner on these sumbitches, they could just go play in Cinderella.
Look at her, miserable.
And you know what? I bet it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these dudes, because the time period would match up, if a lot of these dudes were in like hair metal bands, and then as Alan Jackson says, you know, they've gone country. Like that could be a thing.
Look at that. That's this Jesus scene. Why is he in front of that? It looked like the cross. Look at it. Oh, my
God. Jesus Christ, literally.
Dude, the imagery in this video is wild.
That mullet
also,
is on
fire. Through the crowd and they were throwing stuff at her. It looked like a wedding scene, but in reverse. Like when they throw rice at people.
Yeah.
It's like she was backing through the crowd. It was almost like they were taking their rice back.
Dude, I don't know if we're going to start ranking mullets on this fucking show, but so far, this is the #1 mullet we've seen in a video. My God, look at all these. All these dudes look like either like they look like my aunt and my uncle from 1992.
Yes, they do. This Little Texas big hair. That was their rule.
Yeah, man.
Mullets were in 80s, right?
Or no? It's both.
And the 2020s.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's moving backwards again. She's miserable.
So what is that even on? What's that on her plate? Just chips?
Yeah, I think that was nachos.
Yeah, that's not my move That's not my move at a cafe. Nachos, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
But usually the staff is Mexican, so it could be a good strategic
especially if it's in Austin, Texas, and it's called. It's not Ponderosa. What is
Zona Rosa?
Zona Rosa. Is anybody too sure? What does that mean?
Zona Rosa.
Yeah. I think it's working at the Zona Rosa Cafe.
Yeah, but that's Spanish for what?
The Rosa, I think.
Hey, I'm not I'm not Mexican or whatever.
Let's see.
I know, but I thought you might know because you're smart. Well, all right. Watch the music video if you have it. Let's get it on these lyrics since we've already started it. And
my bad, by the way, everybody, for screwing the format. That's on me.
I think that helps some people. Probably.
Yeah, maybe. Unless YouTube takes it down.
I was fixing to say the only reason we haven't done that in the past is fear of being taken down. But other than that, I think that's a better way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
I think if we just play the video without talking over it, it's a problem. But we clearly ruined the video. So,
all right, we left Texas on a windy night in a beat-up Chevy van. We loaded it up with our innocent dreams and all the love we had. What a great couplet. We didn't know then how hard it was living on our own. I'd find her crying late at night, talking to the folks back home. I wonder what went wrong and where she is now. I'd love to know. Now, obviously, we've said the story here. We've got a lot going on. They're leaving Texas. We don't know yet where they're going, but we know that they're leaving Texas, so we have to assume they're not going to a different part of Texas. They're in a beat-up van, and it says we loaded it up with dreams and love. That is a beautiful way of saying we were poor.
Yeah. You say that. I mean, they might drive for 10 hours and still be in goddamn Texas.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't say we left Texas. They'd say we left Austin.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Is
that whiskey or grape juice?
That is kombucha.
Oh, okay. That's the whiskey of grape juice. Or the juice. Yeah, that's what that is.
Yep.
Our
We
new
didn't know how hard it
sponsors.
was. Soon come just shot the podcast. Bubba drink the boocha. I find her crying late at night talking to the folks back home. Now that's in young relationships, and Tushar, I have to imagine that this crosses all colors. Everybody, when he's talking to the folks back home, you really don't know, and it's very worrisome what's on the other side. It could be mama going, stick it through, gal. It was hard on me and your dad, and we'll send you some money. Or it could be, well, baby, your bed's warm. We ain't changed your room at all. Is there, I mean, maybe in the arranged culture, it's like.
I mean, I've said this before on this podcast. Like the one form of abuse is like this type of running away and still being in touch with your family thing. Usually when people run away, they run away.
Right.
But this was a little bit more of she clearly left with dreams. And now is she calling home because her dreams are like, what is she crying about? The next verse, it's hard. But yeah, what's hard?
But well, to live on your own, to be poor, to make a marriage or a relationship work for the first time. But the question is, he doesn't know yet in the song. I think it's pretty clear later what went down, what kind of response she's getting. We welcome now Trae Crowder to Bubba Shot the podcast. Trae, to catch you up.
Hey, buddy.
Can't hear you.
Huh?
Is that a delay for everybody else? Yeah, there's a delay is the problem.
You were sounding a little weird to me there for a second.
Me?
No, Drew.
Oh, okay. I guess it's my internet. But you're also good on my end now, Trae. To catch you up, we watched the video because Corey thought we were doing John Deere Green, and we talked over it. So we're hoping that YouTube will make that cool. And then we've just gone through the first verse, and we're saying it's clear they've left the state. We're not sure yet the song where. That becomes obvious, I think, later on. And it's clear to me that they're a little poor as they loaded up an old van, dreams, and love. She's calling back home, and I was saying that call back home when you're in a young relationship, you don't know if they're getting encouragement to stick it through on the other side. You know, hey, he's a good guy. Y'all figure it out, girl, blah, blah, blah. Or he was a piece of shit anyway, and we ain't changed your room at all. Won't you come on back home?
Yeah. Okay.
Great yes and what next from Trae Crowder.
Yes, this song really hits for me. I just want to say that.
Yeah. Well, we thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
I like it. I do want to hear. I think
this is good.
I'm going to make you talk about, when your old lady calls her mama, especially in a young relationship, you don't know what's in her or her sister. That's something you dealt with without getting too far into the detail. Kind of in reverse, I think. You had to deal with Katie talking shit about her sister. But my point is, you don't know if somebody's shit talking to you on the other side or telling her it'll get better.
Yeah, I've always assumed when Katie's talking to another woman on the phone and the subject is me that it ain't good.
It's about how much you don't hit.
It's mostly centered around how much I don't hit. And presumably also how much the woman on the other end of the phone, how much her man also don't hit.
Yeah.
It's just a don't hit session. I don't know.
I can tell you.
Like it's sort of just, like they can have that.
It's lighthearted. But what happens there, I think, is you're allowed to agree with your friend when your friend talks shit about her man.
Of course.
He's always he don't work enough. Yeah, he don't work enough. But you can't go a step further. But I'm arguing, I think, in this song, when it's a younger girl, especially if it's her mama, I think somebody was running covert operations against our man here. I think she was being told, you just need to come on back to Austin. I'll get you a job. You get your old job back. I got a room for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, knowing my folks and knowing how a lot of Southern mamas are, it's not many a mama who, if their daughter was living outside of their hometown, would be like, no, you stay. don't come back. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Are they married? That's the only thing that matters.
That's true. That's very true.
Ain't she
My
in
favorite
like
part-
a damn van on a fucking like on the coast while he's
Well, it's
busking
unclear.
for coins on the beach or whatever the hell's going on or something like that.
It's unclear if they
Ain't no
live in
mama's
the.
down with that shit. Hell, I wouldn't be down with that shit.
I think it's unclear if they live in the van. You're touching on the music video a little bit, but in the music video, they're in front of an Airstream in what is clearly West Texas, which is so funny they wouldn't fly to the coast to shoot 3 fucking shots.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to the.
Well, my favorite part of my favorite part of the first verse is the first verse has a line that is funny throughout the thing to me, which is, "I wonder what went wrong." As in, the guy's like, she's talking. I don't know. I can't talk to her. It's like, why didn't you just ask her a couple of questions of what's up? The fact that she left very obviously quickly.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious to be like, dude, you were probably fucked up for 5 months.
Yeah.
I was woke up and she was gone.
Well, let's get into the chorus.
Most dudes, you either actually, dude, you know exactly what it was, or if you don't, she's fucking someone else. That's the answer.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I feel like it's probably the not having any money for food and living in a goddamn van.
But he would know that.
2,000 miles away from home and whatnot. It's like,
Yeah,
it's not that.
I don't.
Not some grand mystery, I don't think. Like,
Right.
I don't feel. Hold on. I don't feel
wonder
ready to
what
concede.
went
she's having a rough time with it.
Wait. I do not feel ready to concede
You
that
broke
these people
bitch.
are living in a van. I'm not ready to concede that they're living in a van. They left in a van, but like, where are we getting that they live in the van?
Yeah, it's just the metaphorical van,
That's true. Definitely living in the van metaphor. Give you that.
Yeah.
Well, let's get
They're
to
living
the
in a
chorus.
beach hovel with bugs all in it and shit.
Them beach bugs don't hit.
No,
I bet-
beach bugs don't hit. That's right. Fucking
I bet
long
Amy's
haired
back.
hippie surfers outside all the goddamn time. Like, everything smells like fish, heroin addicts everywhere. Fucking, like, it's just, this ain't how she thought she saw her life going. You know what I mean? But then he wants to go down there and sing George Jones on the street corner or whatever the fuck he's doing. And she's like, I'm not seeing the upside to this, man.
Mhm.
And he's like, where is this coming from?
This is a Bubba first. Trae Crowder has chosen the woman's side and is sticking to his guns and giving my man down the road. She left him in the middle of the night. She agreed to move out there, Trae. She agreed to go out there and support him and love him. He has dreams, and they were supposed to be her dreams. And then this bitch wants to go home and work at a fucking restaurant.
This bitch is too good for the cardboard shoes I bought her. Goddamn.
Yeah. She rolled with it for a while. He ordered started hitting, shit.
Look,
women work, man. You fucking,
that's true. Yeah, dude.
Start hitting,
Amber told me, when me and Amber first started dating, I was not hitting, and she gave me the whole pitch of like, oh, don't worry, I'll support you forever, and I just, as long as you make me laugh and cook, I'll be your woman. Now, lucky for her, I did start hitting, like pretty quickly, but like, dog, a year of me just at home making omelets, cracking jokes, that ain't it. Like, that wasn't gonna fly. You know what I mean? Her ass would have been
in her
gone.
defense, it would probably stop being funny at some point, to her.
For sure.
Maybe not to anybody else, but she would be like, okay.
I'm not saying she wouldn't have been within her rights to be like, you know what, fuck you, you don't hit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it.
I bet
Rat's
Amber's
power.
back with Austin. All right, let's get to the chorus. We still haven't read the chorus. I bet Amy's back in Austin working at the La Zona Rosa Cafe. I remember the night we lost it and then she went away. Was it the angry words or did you miss her mama? I don't know, but it don't feel right. I bet Amy's back in Austin and I'm missing her tonight. Now, this is getting into what we were talking about a little bit about why can't he talk
He just
to her
doesn't
from
know.
Tushar. But
He just doesn't know.
all right, but hold on. Let's break this stuff down. There was a night that something happened. He lost it. Now, the first time I read it, I was like, did they lose a child? But I think it just rhymed. You know what I mean? Austin lost it. That was the best they could do. But then that was the night. And then the day she went away was a different day. And what do you guys think? Was it the next day? Was it 2 weeks later? Like,
I think that, like, when he says, I remember the night we lost it, it's like, I feel like anybody's had a relationship fall apart. You can, not always, but oftentimes you can point to one moment. It's like that was the point of no return. That was the Rubicon for the relationship. And also, I feel like it's very, very often not the moment the relationship actually ends. You usually drag the corpse of the relationship along behind you for at least a few more weeks or days, at least, or something. And before you finally call it. And I feel like that's what this little section is about. He's like, I know it was over that night. I know it was, but that's not the day she went away. But I remember that day too, and that also didn't hit.
I completely agree, and I think that it makes Too Sharp's point even more jarring. Of like, so you knew it was ending, and then you just didn't. You didn't even talk to her about it. You didn't say, "Hey, like, I know you're going to leave." He's just out there singing George Jones.
You're right, and it's funny to me that he don't bring that up. Like that's not a possibility. It's like, is it the angry words? Like, is it that I was mean to her, or did she just miss her mama? Because it couldn't have been my myriad failures.
I was about to say, I bet if you called her a bitch and a Porsche, she would have forgiven you.
Right,
Gypsy speedboat.
Yeah, right. Like, dude, you can't be out there fucking busking with beach bugs and
talking shit
and talking shit, right?
No.
Like, you can't talk shit unless you're hitting. Them's the rules. Everybody knows it.
Absolutely, dog. I know you being funny, but you being fucking for real too.
All right, I don't want to go too fast, but I want to get to the next verse because. Trae, from your purview, the next time we're 10 hours in the West Coast sun. Is he busking for 10 hours?
Oh, hang on. Let me look at it. I've got it here too.
Well, I'll read it while you look. Work for the.
I got it. Yeah.
For the people at home. Working 10 hours in the West Coast sun can make the day so long. Watching the moon crash the ocean alone sure old. I remember how sweet it was. Where is she now? I need to know.
What the fuck? Were they farmers? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, I was about to say, I just assumed because it's a song from a band that he was going out there to chase his dreams or whatever, but did they not even have a goddamn plan?
Right.
This is a Mexican immigrant story repurposed as some country thing. And the lyrics make more sense with the immigrant struggle. That's my 2 cents here.
I agree with Tushar. What I actually do think is happening, though, is he wrote this with a very successful songwriter. It's that whole thing of we will allude to dreams but not get too specific so that
everybody can
maximum relatability.
Yeah, but again, though, what other dreams?
Well, who can't relate to their old man being a dumb piece of shit with too many dreams?
Well, Corey, me and you were talking about that recently. I think I can't remember if it was on any of our shows or anything.
About my dad being a dumb piece of shit. Is that what you said?
You brought that up recently, yeah, but no.
On everything we do.
The people there are people who just like want to go to either California or New York or whatever,
to not
and they
even
don't have a specific dream. They're just like, that's where all the action is. It's like, what does action mean?
Amber's got a really good friend that did that.
That's where it's at.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna go get me some of that. And like people do that. It don't make no goddamn sense to me, but people
don't make
that.
Any.
So I don't know.
They want to be around. There was a guy in New York I knew who did comedy, but he wasn't like pursuing it, like didn't care. He would just go to mics, and he was kind of trying to be like a foodie type guy, but he was just like, look, man, Ohio sucked. I date way hotter people, and all my friends are weirdos and cool. And I got that, but he was 24 and single. He wasn't trying to make a life. You know what I mean?
Was he from a tiny town in Ohio?
I think it might have been close to Cleveland, dog.
I was about to say, because like you could just go to any big city. If you're from a place that don't hit, you could just go to the next biggest city and it will hit harder. But, maybe he was from Cleveland and Cleveland wasn't it for him.
I like the idea of a guy looking around Ohio and being like, this ain't it. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it eating. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go pro in the eating game. And,
I do get like, I'm going to go somewhere where getting laid and finding drugs and finding parties is easier. But that's not what's happening in this song. They're trying to like make it as a couple. And California ain't the place to do that.
Hell no.
There's a song, it wasn't a single. but it's by Chris Stapleton. It was on that huge album of his, Traveler, and I fucking love it. And it's kind of the same premise, but except it works out for them.
Yeah.
It's When the Stars Come Out is the name of it, but it's all just about like, we just came out here running on nothing but fumes and a dream, baby, and you bet on me and all this shit, and it worked out, and I love you for it. And it's like but Amy, that song has hit for me since that album came out, because that's sort of what me and Katie did. And I'm not busking with beach bugs, so it's a little different. But I'm saying I never that song's always hit for me, and it never occurred to me until this moment in this conversation that song is kind of the flip side of Amy's Back in Austin, which is sort of which I feel like Amy's Back in Austin is very much more the kind of standard for these situations.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go 99 out of 99.
Yeah, it's like the girl wakes up one day, is like, "What the fuck was I thinking?"
Or the guy.
Nowadays, not that much.
Yeah.
The other part of the song I like is the fact that this is all from the guy's perspective, right? So he's just presuming she's back in Austin and hating life, and the imagery is from him.
Yeah, right. But that could just be
I
his
watched
brain.
the video, and I never got that from it. I always thought he was picturing her like, being like, I bet she's back in Austin, just things are back to normal for her. I'm tore all to pieces.
If you think about it,
I want to get into this. Hold on, I want to get into this. However you feel about the song, and we'll hear from everybody about whether the song's saying she's back there hitting, she's back there doing fine, or she's back there struggling. The video has made a clear choice, and I almost feel like this director had one of them in his life, but he now, because dude, Trae, I know you said you hadn't watched it. It cuts to black and white, and she's in the cafe, and she's moving slowly. She's literally floating through one scene with beers in her hand, like a fucking David Lynch nightmare, while dudes throw shit at her.
I bet, it's really fucking funny.
Go Dogs!
I bet it could be both though. They could have been going for the whole this is what the thing that he's saying is what he thinks, but then this is the reality. You know what I mean? He's like, I bet she's blah, 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 but actually she's miserable too, but now they're miserable in two different places. You know what I'm saying?
I never even really thought that deeply about this song, but I mean, I did have my assumptions about it. And I feel like when you think wistfully about an ex who you feel like you fucked it up, you feel like you're the one who fucked it up or whatever, you run her off.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
me
think
with all
about
mine.
it. I feel like in your head, you're like, I bet she's hitting and things hit and whatever else. And of course you're like, I hope she's fat and sad and nothing hits. That's what I hope. I hope everything terrible for her ass, but I bet it ain't. I bet her new man got a Porsche and I'm in this van and he's allowed to
big
call
old dick.
Yeah, big old dick, not covered in bugs or sand the way I am. And that's where your head goes. So I guess that's how I just always interpreted the song with, when
I think that is what's
back in
happening in the
Austin.
song.
I never heard him as well. I bet she's back in Austin wishing she hadn't left me and knowing she fucked up. I never took it that way.
That's How Do You Like Me Now? That's a totally different song.
Right.
That song's weird too.
Obviously
we'll talk about that later.
I think that you're right, Trae. I think that's what the song is about, and that this director is almost arguing with the song. And it's interesting. It's like what Corey said. Right. It's almost like we all go through this. We all assume that the one got away is killing it. What y'all need to understand is that bitch miserable too. Look at these guys throwing rice at her. That don't even make sense. It's kind of racist. Why are they throwing rice at her?
Yeah, I remember when we talked about Fancy, the director of the Fancy video had made some we assume it's the director. Somebody involved with the video made some choices that I thought kind of directly contradicted the song. So I guess they they be doing that sometimes. But yeah, but I don't know. Maybe they told the songwriters, producers, the band, somebody, all of them, whatever, were like, no, things don't hit for her. Make sure, just so everybody knows, things don't hit for her. So throw rice at her and shit.
Well, going back to the not specifying your dreams and stuff, I'm saying that I think the song the guy singing it does assume she's doing fine, but it definitely doesn't say that. You can't say, in my opinion, that the director went against the song. He just shows her at the Ponderosa Cafe. I'm sorry, Zona Rosa Cafe. It just so happens that it sucks there for her real bad,
Yeah.
which it's also funny because it's like, well, yeah, who the fuck wants to be a waitress?
Yeah,
Right.
Well, it's better than
Yeah.
doing 10 hours of backbreaking work, whatever the fuck they were doing in the
That's
fields.
true.
husking for
Covered in
bugs.
beach
Yeah.
bugs. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wasn't good enough for her. I'm on his team. My man's out here in the sun working 10 hours, and it ain't good enough for her. And now dudes are throwing rice at her, and she deserves it.
Shucking bugs for 10 cents a goddamn hour in the hot Texas sun.
Well, depends on how many bugs you get.
Yeah.
You can get bug bonuses, Corey. He's got plans. If you meet your monthly quota, they let you eat.
But I don't like the more we talk about it, the more it's like, what was the plan here? Like, you know,
Dreams
because
and love.
you could work 10 hours in the sun and like afford to live if you ain't, you
Right.
know, out here on the beach where dreams come true. Dreams don't come true in the fields, dog.
Well, again,
like
you are projecting the poverty upon them. They
What?
left in a beat up van, but there's nothing in the song to imply that when they got out to California, she couldn't eat. He might have had this bitch eating fucking, not
did
like
not.
super fancy.
Nah,
but
they
she
didn't
might
hit.
have
Getting
been
out
eating
here,
crackers every night.
Look, okay. We didn't know then how hard it was living on our own.
Yeah, no.
Like, I'd find her crying late at night. Fucking dude, bitches that
Grow
eating
up.
fine fish ain't crying themselves to sleep at night. You know what I mean? I mean, you still can, but I'm saying, like,
For
you
sure.
fucking-
That's what you're telling me. You're telling me this man worked 10 hours a day, gets home, she's crying. What's she crying about? She didn't work 10 hours a day.
She's been by herself for 10 hours.
Now that's true. It is. That's another reason it's hard on your own for the first time is you're just alone.
You don't have anybody. Yeah.
Dude, Andy worked part-time when we moved down to Miami, and I was working full-time at the public defender. When I got home, she was so ready to talk to any human
That don't help.
that I had to start being like, listen, I get in the door, nothing for 30 minutes. For 30 minutes, don't talk to me. And then you can unload it all. But for 30 minutes, just let me eat with no talking.
Dude,
that's
we've
a
been
Chris Rock bit. That's
Yeah.
from Bigger and
I
Black.
think that's
Like,
where
he
I got
opens
it.
the door, steps his foot in, just like, just a bit.
Dude.
He's like, what?
I think
We
that's where I
have-
got it.
I have been, me and Amber have been sharing a car for the past couple of weeks. Ours is getting worked on. And so because of that, I've been like taking her to work and picking her up from work. And when I go pick her up from work, because she's just been in there with a bunch of kids all day, not being able to say none of her fucking Amber shit. And buddy, I mean, from the second she gets in the car, the second we get home, I'm just like, I mean, it's whatever. But like, I could see how that wouldn't hit for some people. You know what I'm saying? For me, it hit. I love it.
Sounds like a...
I love it.
Oh man, Trae. The other thing we've talked about a little bit in the video, they take a lot of artistic, wild moves. I already mentioned the black and white. They show our boy kind of on a cross. It's not on a cross, but it's got like this tree behind him, and he's got. So I do feel like this director was like martyring the protagonist of the song a little bit. I think he saw himself in that young man.
Yeah, that happens a lot, I'd say.
In the bugs, bite marks from the bug. All right, let's go back to the lyrics. Obviously, we got the next chorus. It's identical. They don't change anything about the chorus. Third verse, which I appreciate. I've been whining about not getting a third verse, although really they just took a verse and split it in two. But could this desert wind carry me back again with my heart in my hand? Baby, baby, I'm missing you. Not a lot.
Yeah, that's like a bridge, ain't it? That's what
Yeah.
they call it. I would call this a bridge, this part of the song. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm music dumb, but I don't
No,
think
you're
this
right.
is a verse. Okay.
You're completely right. Do you think though that to me it's like him considering going back?
Yeah,
Is that?
absolutely.
But he's not going.
More
to.
evidence that he ain't hitting out here.
Yeah, he don't
know?
hit.
No, he don't.
He's a failed comic. Go back to your
Well,
city.
Yeah, could
start
be
an open
that.
mic.
Except ain't no failed comic ever fucking worked the fields for 10 hours all day or whatever. But like also, because that would be dumb. Like
yeah.
fucking you can't come out here if your dreams ain't field related. I just don't. I don't understand what this guy's doing. I
No.
don't know what the plan was. And I feel like, Amy sort of came around to that same line of thinking. She's like, is there even a plan here? And like y'all were saying when I first got on here, when she calls her mama, and it's like, I don't think this dude's got a plan. And mama's like, sorry, ass ain't playing shit.
Yeah, he don't hit.
He don't hit. Come back home.
Yeah, he just wanted to go somewhere else and not hit. He'd done all the not hitting he could do where he's from. He had to go somewhere else and not hit. This town ain't big enough for the both of us to not hit.
But the song does make it feel like, oh, she could have been pregnant. She left. Who knows, man? Where is she? There's no telling. Like, this could be a missing person. Thing.
He doesn't even know where she's at.
Where is this girl?
That is true. That is true. I got murdered. I also never really thought about that either. I always just assumed that Amy was, in fact, back in Austin.
Right.
This is a murder mystery.
Right. He don't know. Like, she could be dead in the ditch. She could have been human trafficked or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, I bet I made her mad. That's what happened.
Yeah.
She missed her mom and never called me again, and that's not weird at all.
Yeah.
Why don't he call them?
It ain't because I had to heat up Denty Moore on a cigarette lighter 3 nights in a goddamn row.
Or she could be with some dude that does hit in like San Francisco or something. That's a possibility too.
It would be so funny if she just moved across town. She was like, "No, California's actually pretty cool, and I don't mind the beach or the bugs. You just suck."
Yeah, it turns out.
Whereas Francisco, he's got a big old dick. Why didn't he call? Why didn't he call the Zona Rosa Cafe or her mama?
He can't afford a phone.
Made some moves.
That motherfucker ain't got a quarter.
This song is about homeless people. Corey has figured it out. Trae actually started it. They live in a van. She hitchhiked home and got murdered, though.
I mean,
I think
he keeps on saying he misses her.
Right, but I don't know. Trying to answer this question sincerely, we've all been there at one point or another, I think. Like, you don't.
It's the reason you don't go to the doctor when you think something's wrong, because you don't want to be told.
You don't want to know, really. Like, you sit around wondering and thinking the worst, hoping the worst, thinking probably, all this shit's going through your mind or whatever, but you don't often pick up the phone and actually check, and unless you get drunk, and then you do, and then that was a huge mistake that you ought not have done.
God damn, man.
I don't think it's that weird that he ain't like actually checked. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't. Now, of course, in this day and age, you just get on fucking Instagram or whatever, and and it's different. But back then, you couldn't do that.
Texting really changed the drunk dialing game, and made it way, way like lower stakes, but also like higher rate of it happening. You know what I mean? Back in don't get me wrong, I drunk dialed, I guess, but like. When text became a thing, it's like now you doing it to everybody all the time, making these mistakes. Back then, man, when you fucking like drunk, like actual dialing, whoo, boy, I'd love to hear some like answering tapes of people.
But you can't. That's the thing. That's the only way it's worse now is you text it. They take a screenshot. That's permanent,
Yeah, that don't.
Do you guys have beepers?
No, you fucking idiot.
We had addictions.
I know they give them to y'all at birth, I guess, but
no. Yeah. He had guns at 8.
Were on the way out when we were like getting of the age to get cell phones. Were like beepers were big when we were still kids. Which
when we were, they were, but only 2 people had them. Doctors and drug dealers. There was no in between.
In my town, nobody had
everybody with drugs.
The whole era of vapors passed Salina by, believe that or not. But but yeah.
Hey, let's get into the background a little bit because we sort of skipped it. I do want to talk about Brady Seals is the front man of Little Texas. I like Little Texas. They had more hits than I remember. They started in Nashville in the 80s. And a lot of their people are from Texas, but I do think it's interesting that Little Texas started in Nashville, although it might be one of those things where it's like existing in Nashville, but feeling like a Texas band. You had to, you know what I mean? But the front man is from Ohio. Now, I'm not like offended by the, Cracker Barrel cosplay as I have coined it necessarily here. You're in Nashville, you want to make it, whatever. But Texas bands are a thing. Mm-hmm. Always assumed Little Texas was a Texas band.
Well, Ohio is Little Texas.
Is it?
There you go.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Is that true?
Fuck no.
He's fucking with me.
But
I knew it.
buddy, I mean, look, it's a lot of fucking trash in Ohio.
Absolutely.
I'm not mad about an Ohio band.
There's Appalachian parts of Ohio and stuff, coal parts. I mean, there's a lot of trash up there. I don't know which part this guy's from. It still ain't the same thing as Texas. Being Little Texas is, yeah, that's a little bit weird. I agree. I definitely 100% always assumed that Little Texas was a Texas band. Why would a Little Texas be an Ohio band? Did he get like found and put into? Did they get assembled? You know?
Yeah, I didn't find that they had, but that wasn't as, I guess, talked about back then because it was kind of like everybody was assembled, or you were a fucking band from Texas. I mean, that's the other thing. Texas had a reputation. The Red Dirt Circuit had a reputation of bands coming out together. You know what I mean?
They still do. There's still there's a lot of acts, bands, guys, gals, songwriters, whatever, who kind of just make a whole entire career out of just Texas, that can.
I found it.
Can hit real hard in Texas, but not really go anywhere else, and also not need to. You kind of just stick around Texas and hit like a motherfucker. Can't really do that.
This is great.
Band from Texas.
So the name Little Texas, this is fucking tremendous. The name Little Texas derived from the name of the street on which Warner Brothers producer Doug Grau lived in Nashville. The band members discovered that the street was named after a community south of Nashville that was famous for moonshine activity. Grau agreed that Little Texas would be a far better name than another the group was considering, Possum Flat.
Yeah, it's a good change. It's a good.
I mean, I'd still rock with Possum Flat. Don't get me wrong.
That don't not hit for me, but yeah.
That's from encyclopedia.com, by the way, to cite my source.
Isn't that there's a band or a song or something with possum in it? What is it?
The possum. Oh my God.
Well, George Jones is the.
No, it's a rock song. It's a rock song.
I know that ain't what I'm talking about.
It's
a
rock song.
I guess I'm just contrary today.
Yeah, Possum Kingdom by the Toadies. By the Toadies.
By the Toadies.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I guess I'm contrary today, but I'm a little mad at Amy, and I think I like Possum Flat.
There also was a band called Possum Dixon.
Oh yeah.
I knew I'd heard of that. They were like weird, and my
that
dad
sounds like the mayor that we would write in a TV show.
Yeah, old Possum Dixon. Well, they were like a LA weird band who did like Talking Heads type shit or whatever. Which my dad was always into that type of stuff, and I agree that name don't sound like that band, but all right, I knew that was something. Anyway,
all right, let's talk a little bit about the songwriter then. I'm sorry, I think I have a delay, and I apologize everybody if I'm screwing stuff up. His name, as I mentioned before, is Stephen Allen Davis. Most of his songs are credited as Steve Davis. Steve Davis comes from a musical family. His uncle, Harold Bradley, founded Music Row in Nashville, and he was part of the studio called the Quonset Hut, which if you listen to Cocaine and Rhinestones, there's a lot of records that came out of that. He was given the title most recorded guitar player of all time. That's his uncle. So he comes into a musical family. He was a professional water skier from outside of Nashville, Tennessee as a 17-year-old. He's the professional water skiing world, but he recognizes that just means you get sponsors, but it's not like a career, and just decides to go into music and basically got a publishing deal a year later. Now, the way his bio reads, it's unclear. He may have been playing music his whole life and have been writing songs or whatever. He has now been recorded by Joe Cocker, Meatloaf, Tammy Wynette, Reba McEntire, Barbara Mandrell, and put out 4 records of his own. His first song was recorded as he got a publishing deal by Percy Sledge, and it was called Take Time to Know Her. Time to Know Her was number 6 on the U.S. R&B chart and 11 on the pop chart in 1968. So he came out the gate hitting. He never stopped. I'm kind of surprised we hadn't run into him before, but I think it's because he was so prolific that he wasn't just doing country in the 90s. He was doing all that stuff.
Steve Allen Davis?
Yeah, Stephen Allen Davis.
Sad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, his initials. I thought you were about to tell
Yeah.
us something horrible.
No, sad. Just it makes sense that a country, impresario like this, they're working with the big sad. Get the big sad in the studio.
Mhm.
Gotta get a tearjerker going.
Publishing deals, as I understand them back in the day, it was you would sign with a company, and the songs you wrote while your time there, you had to give them a certain amount of songs per year, and then they would record them with any of their artists who were interested in them. Now, from a close friend of ours, whose name I won't mention, I understand that it can be so varied. One of our buddies, I'll tell y'all who afterwards, got hired in one of those just to help out songs to make, and I quote, be more authentic, he said, and then he laughed at the absurdity of that.
Yeah. I know
That's an interesting. That's an interesting. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The way the industry works, where it's like, hey, this guy hits, and we could put him on, or we could just make him write songs for other hitters, or make other hitters' songs sound more authentic, or whatever. It evolves, but it's always the same. Of kind of like the pop country thing. It's always been a little fake.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they can control those other people better. They're like more their puppets.
For sure.
And they just check more boxes and shit that they have on their list of like things that hit on CMT or country radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your
They just got
print looks good in them jeans.
Yeah, right. That type of thing. And they have to be in complete control. So why would you want a guy who like has actual authenticity and stuff to say and like,
Right.
and strong opinions about,
Yeah.
the
So
direction of the art form and stuff like that. Like, we don't want none of that. You can pay that guy to like make this guy sound like he don't not hit, but that's all pretty much that guy can be allowed to do.
I totally get that. I totally get that. And I think that explains what's going on with our buddy. But a guy like Sad here, he was writing hits in very, like, he's a bit amenable to, less artistry and more, money. I mean, the dude was putting out hits in various. So it seems like he was bendable. Maybe he was ugly, though. Maybe his dick print didn't hit.
Bet it didn't hit.
That's why he was sad.
He might not could have sang and shit either. Did that get covered?
That's
I know you
true.
say he was a real good guitar player, but maybe he just wasn't a performer outside of like he could play the guitar, but
He put out records, but that don't mean anything. Tushar, are there famous Bollywood composers or songwriters who aren't necessarily on screen, but they're known for their soundtracks or whatever?
Surely people we see singing are not the ones who wrote it, right?
Right. But do those people get famous?
Yeah. They'll be more important than the actual singer. Right? Like they are composing, they're running the show. The actor who's singing on screen is just the actor. He has his own world of acting. And you almost get a writer's credit in the movie.
Okay.
You're a part of the fabric of the movie. So in the Bollywood world, like that's how it kind of plays out, where like the singer, the songwriter singer relationship is very much like structured to be a part. It's obviously changing now because everyone can do everything now. So that's people are taking more of that. But in the era of like the 80s and 90s, with very few exceptions, the singer might be the songwriter, but the person performing it and known for it is completely different. That's the actor.
Right. But you said they were very important. Did you just mean literally, or I mean, like culturally, do people give a shit? Are they famous? Are they studied? I don't know.
No, we're talking about like for the longest time up till, once again, pretty recently, until the internet showed up, the 90s for sure, Bollywood was controlled by like 5 families, like quite literally. So like if you're a made person and you are cranking out songs for 4 or 5 families, you're part of the thing and you're pushed upon and you're well known just by design because you have access to everyone.
And you're like you're a household name, or you're well known in that world.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're part of the this is this person's song.
Right.
They have albums separate from the movie, and it's kind of, it operates, once again, everything Bollywood goes through Bollywood. It's not its own industry in terms of music. And I'm sure there was music happening that was so regional that it was never even recorded and stuff like that. I'm sure that must have happened. But in terms of like the big cultural stuff from an Indian perspective, like this conversation, it wouldn't happen like the same way.
Right.
Well,
there you go.
Sorry,
I always do want to ask the question, what rap song does this most equivalent to, if anything?
Rapping about a woman leaving you ain't very common.
No.
I'll Be Missing You, Puffy.
Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne.
That's about his boy.
Right. That's
whatever Drake does.
Normally, when what'd you say?
Whatever Drake does.
Oh yeah. J. Cole probably got some songs like this, I guess.
He probably does for sure.
But yeah, it ain't very hard to talk about being brokenhearted over a woman leaving.
That's why I said Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne. It was about leaving, but not cheating.
In J. Cole's,
that song's about him having a squad of hoes who help him commit crimes.
Yeah, that's a wild ass song.
I was literally only thinking of it from. I was only thinking of it from Kendrick's perspective in the song.
Oh
yeah,
and
Kendrick, or Kendrick's verse where he's not Kendrick.
Yeah, by what
Kendrick
I said,
as a different person rapping about someone cheating on that guy with Kendrick.
Yeah, if in my version, Amy's back in Austin getting a fucking train ran on her ass.
Yeah. And also helping to orchestrate like
robberies
heist with gang members and stuff. That's what Amy's doing back in Austin. Then yes, Mona Lisa is very similar in that way.
But we do not know that that's not true.
That is true. It is open to interpretation.
All we know is that this dude don't hit. That's it.
I don't even think we know that. I feel like he might hit.
He does not hit, Drew.
In
J. Cole's version,
he might hit for you, but he does not hit.
Okay, but all I'm saying is she don't hit either. What's this bitch have to offer? What was
I don't think she hits.
All fucking day?
She hits.
Sitting on the phone with her mama, run up the fucking phone bill. Long distance was a thing back then, Corey. It's expensive to talk to fucking Texas. This bitch is sitting there while he's out 10 hours a goddamn day, letting bugs bite him on his fucking legs. Then he gets home and she's like, "I miss Texas." Well, then go back, bitch. How about that?
You've got this binary way of thinking that if he don't hit, that means she must hit for me. She don't hit either. I don't like her. No, they don't hit.
But she went back to where she belongs.
Yeah, exactly.
At the Zona Rosa Cafe. Right?
Yeah, right.
Because she knows, she's like, I'm not supposed to be out here trying to hit because I don't
hit.
He thinks he hits, but he don't hit.
She's self-aware, not hitting. That's a totally different type of not hitting. Yeah.
I can't be out here skinning bugs to make bug blankets with this motherfucker. I don't hit. You know what I mean?
I agree with all of that. Actually, I just respect him more. I think
he's all right.
J. Cole makes this song, Trae. The only difference is he absolutely makes it by the end of the third verse, and it's all about how, I guess you missed out. It's basically, how do you like me now?
Yeah, I respect that about this song, that don't really explicitly happen, frankly. Because I agree. I feel like that's normally the shape of it. It's like, I hit now. I feel like there's a little bit of an implication that he hits now because we're hearing the song on the radio. But it's like, it ain't necessarily about the guy that sings the song.
Yeah.
It's covered. Right. So it still plays.
Like John Prine was not an old woman, you know what I mean? Even though he is in that song. So
yes, but I still think that I already said, I just always kind of assumed he was out there busking. Right.
Yeah, right.
But it don't say that. And in fact, it says he's working in the fields every goddamn day or whatever. So things get a little messed up.
You know what exercise? Sorry, Drew, I couldn't really hear you. But that one at the end of the song, an exercise that'd be funny to try would be, in the Matthew McConaughey movie and Time to Kill, where he's like, now imagine they're black.
Yeah.
Like, do that at the end of this song. Does it change anything? I don't know.
Her name would be Amy. No,
let's close out.
Well, I would probably have changed the way I talked about both of them throughout the course of this episode.
Absolutely. I'd been like, hey, God damn it, they're struggling, but it's all been set up against them. What were they supposed to do? This was the 90s.
Yeah, they've been systematically oppressed. They're just going for a better life, and that's
Rodney
all we
King
know
had
about.
just happened. You know what I
also,
mean?
like, why does she want to go back to Texas? What's wrong with her?
Jesus Christ,
Right.
man, that's the last place she should be.
All right, and also all of our speculation would be wildly different. Let's give us a rating. I'm going to go with 2.69 Earnhardts.
I'll go 2.25 Earnhardts. I really, really like this song a lot, but not in a like.
Yeah,
it's not like momentous for me or anything.
It's very
in my
catchy.
childhood. Yeah, right.
It's very catchy, but once you break it all down, and it is like, yeah, it's a good story, but it's like, yeah, we've seen this template before. You know, I will go 2.3 Bubba Earnhardts.
I'm gonna go. I started this song with my usual open eyes to see like how let's see where this goes, and I'm usually very positive. But the more we studied this song, and I watched the video a bunch of times, every single time I got more and more mad at this dude
Because he don't hit, yeah.
Because he don't hit, she don't hit, and then the mullets started not hitting.
The mullets hit now.
It got.
And by the way, that was like a $90 mullet haircut, so clearly it ain't about that motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in 1994 money, that was like a $187 mullet haircut.
For sure, dude. And, yeah. Mullet inflation, we got degrees in.
What perm? I'm gonna give the.
Tushar, I have to say yet again, you have to stop saying white power on a podcast that is not just a video cast.
I'm gonna give it 0.25. I'm gonna give the guy a quarter.
Damn.
The whole time he's homeless. I'm gonna give him a quarter.
Point Bubba, god damn.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna lay the hammer down here.
Jesus.
And don't move Tushar's daughter out to fucking California without a plan. I'll say that right now.
Bubba Shout the podcast, and that's right. A show about country at its height. Don't expect no shit from 2005. Bubba Shout the podcast, and that's right.